Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your boy Sly, and today we're going to be talking about something rather interesting. Alright, and this is a controversial, not exactly controversial topic. It's actually not a definite position. I'm just pointing out reasons why it might look that iPhones aren't made for Nigerians. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, there is no certified Apple store or Genius Bar in Nigeria. Now, I did not know this till like 6 months ago while I was engaged in a conversation with a friend, and it pointed my attention to the fact that there might not be actually any Apple store, certified Apple store or Genius Bar in Nigeria. I think they call them Genius Bar in the United States. How clever, right? Anyways, it's really, I don't know, there's a huge percent, or at least a reasonable significant percent of Nigerians that actually use iPhones, so basically just call them iPhone consumers, and we don't have even one Apple store in Nigeria. That is saying something, all right? For a company as big as Apple, it's really saying something. Even if it's just one Apple store that is certified, that is probably built or established in somewhere like Lagos, that is like the most accessible place of the country for a lot of people, it would be okay and at least show some sign of considering the Nigerian market while considering the Nigerian market by Apple. The second reason is none of the features or settings for iOS or on iOS actually consider Nigeria as a reasonable percent of iPhone consumers in the world. I'm going to explain this. Now, iOS being the operating system that iPhones are modeled on, I mean the latest one is the iOS 13, still does not have some features that would have made life easier, at least for Nigerians using iPhones. I mean, most of the features are so United States centered, and it's okay. I mean, Apple is a United States company. It's very reasonable. But then when you start thinking about the support that it gives to other countries like South Africa, China, right, Germany, yes, these countries are probably more developed than we are, but at the end of the day, it's not exactly about that when it comes to the features that you can make available for a country, right? And before I go any further in the video, I would like to state that this is not any form of discrimination against Apple or any form of dislike. No, as a matter of fact, I have an iPhone myself, so I'm just stating the fact that probably mean that, well, Apple does not really consider us as the reasonable amount of consumers in their customers chat. Does that make sense? It's like the thing you just said, that sentence sounded stupid. But you understand, right? It just goes to show that maybe Apple does not think that we are a reasonable percent of consumers of iPhone in the world. So take for instance, right, about the features and settings that don't actually consider us as a reasonable percent of consumers. Siri, for example, is not optimized in any of our local languages. Yes, and before you go on and say English is the official language in Nigeria, and well, they have English. Yes, it is. I understand. But if it was just the main languages in the world, I think the main languages in the world are about 5. I'm not sure, so you can't hold me to it. I think it's English, Spanish, Arabic. I'm not sure. I guess so. Then Chinese, then there's one other one, maybe German. I really don't, but it can't be up to 10. Now, if you go into settings and you go to Siri and search and go into language or thereabout and try to change language, there's about, I don't know how many, but it's definitely more than 20. And there's even like 3 variations of Chinese languages. I'm not sure, but I think there's about 3 variations of like Chinese languages there. And some other countries have variations too, so it would not be bad if we probably had maybe the Hausa language or the Igbo language or the Yoruba language. It would be really nice. I think Google is working around that line, so that is another reason to show. Also, Apple Pay basically does, just if you're a Nigerian, if you stay in Nigeria, basically that's what I mean. It's not, you could be a Nigerian and stay in the United States. So sorry, if you stay in Nigeria, just forget about Apple Pay because it will not work. So you can use every other features in your Apple ID. So I think there's the Apple Pay card now. Is it the Apple card or Apple Stock? iTunes? I don't know. You understand? There's this new card that has been introduced by Apple that is more like an ATM for like your Apple ID, where you can store funds and use it to buy stocks at physical locations and all of that. I think you can use it online too. It's not available in Nigeria. It's not available to use in Nigeria. You can't even register for it. So that is another thing, right? Now, next, we have the battery life issue. So the battery life on iPhones up to this current generation, actually before this current generation, I mean, sucked. They were not exactly great. The only one that actually came with a break, actually there were a few ones that actually kind of came with breakthroughs, but they were not actually so huge if you were staying in Nigeria. So there was the 8 Plus that had very good battery coming from the 6, the 6s, the 7s and all of that. Then there was the XR that had splendid battery life. It was even better than the X, but they were not actually enough. If you're staying in Nigeria, you'd understand, and this would be relatable for you, that lighting in Nigeria, or let's just say electricity or power, is that not what they call it in the United States? Power in Nigeria is, yeah, it's nothing to write home about. For the most part, in some places the electricity supply and everything is great, but for the most part, which is of course what we base this test on, it's not the best. So you know, if you had an iPhone, say the iPhone 6 or the iPhone 7 or something, you'd run out of battery pretty quickly, especially if you're an avid user of your smartphone. Now, even with the fact that the latest line of iPhones, I mean the iPhone 11, the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max, have splendid battery lives, yes, you would also agree with me that most Nigerians, or let's just say the average Nigerian, can't afford it, right? So that puts us around the 6, the 7, the 8. If you're very lucky, you probably have the X, right? And the battery life on those are not even really great. So of course that is something else that points that they really did not have Nigeria in mind when they were making it. Another point is the insurance on iPhones from Apple. The Apple insurance on iPhones are almost invalid if you're in Nigeria. So there is the big issue of shipping. But before I come to that, let me explain that the insurance from Apple is basically a warranty that if anything happens to your iPhone that is mostly not caused by negligence, then they will change it for you, or they will fix it for free, or they will fix it at a very reduced price, which is very good, right? I think you have to buy the insurance when you buy the phone or something, when you buy it from Apple, or some websites actually support it as third parties. But the point is, you can't use that if you're in Nigeria, because then you have to consider that you have to ship the phone back to them to examine, or probably hold on to and send you a new one, which is probably going to take about 30 days. That is like the regular time that shipping takes if you're this far out from probably the United States or say China or thereabout. So it's probably going to take between 20 and 30 days. Now, I know very few people that would want to stay 20 to 30 days without a phone because they need to fix a screen, or say maybe the battery starts acting up, which is very rare, of course, I understand. But you know, you can never predict what happens. So the insurance is definitely not just worth buying if you're this far out. If you're in Nigeria, the insurance is not exactly worth buying. And then of course you have to wait for them to ship it back after they're done doing it or fixing it or sending you a new one, which is also going to take about 3 weeks or 1 month tops, or maybe even more, especially with this pandemic right now. So the insurance is almost as good as nothing if you're in Nigeria. Another point is Nigerian tech critics, or let's just say tech bloggers, are not invited to Apple yearly events yet. So there's the is it WWDC or WWDC? There is a event that Apple, and there's an event that Apple hosts every year that involves that has W somewhere, has D somewhere, and has C somewhere. You should be able to get it if you just type it on Google or something, or I will just put the name up here right now. So this event basically talks about software, the latest software releases, the latest innovations in Apple, which is crazy great. And then of course there's the yearly launch of the new line of iPhones, which happens in September. So WWDC happens around March. The launch event mostly happens around September or October, and it's actually strictly invite only, invite based or thereabout. There has never been any invite to any Nigerian based probably YouTuber or blogger to go and check it out. So that is saying something. So finally, the last point is that iPhones are too expensive, especially for the Nigerian person, or let's just say the average Nigerian. iPhones are too expensive. So iPhone has this tradition of making sure, or let's just say Apple, sorry, has this tradition of making sure that their phones are way, okay, not way, just a little over $1,000. So you're talking about $1,100, $1,200. And if you're going crazy with your phone, you want to spec it out, you probably want to have 512 gigs, you want to have the rare colors and all of that, then you'll probably be paying up to $1,300 to $1,400. Now for the average American, even this is already quoting a lot of money for a phone. Then you compare that to Nigeria, where the current foreign exchange rate is about 450 naira to $1. Man, I don't know. That is a lot of money. Now, even before this pandemic, because you probably say, oh well, it's because of the pandemic that things have actually spiked up. Yeah, well, before the pandemic, the exchange rate was about 360 naira to $1. So even at that, and let's assume that you got lucky, you want to buy a flagship iPhone, and it's probably $1,000, you still need to pay about 360,000 naira. Then you have to consider how much you're going to pay for shipping. Shipping is probably going to be around, I don't know, it's probably going to bring it close into 400,000 or even 420 or thereabout. Now, when you consider the current exchange rate, if you want to buy a phone from Apple right now, or let's just say for some reason, God forbid, this pandemic holds out till about November or December, if Apple releases the iPhone 12 on time when you want to buy it, so you'd be spending a shit ton of money on just one phone, a flagship phone from Apple. That is about 600 to 700,000. If you're not saying much, if you're not quoting much. So that is huge money for one phone, when there is other very cheap variants that you can easily get. And of course, before you'd say that yes, iPhones have the best this, you're paying for quality, you're paying for sustainability, you're paying for security, it's still really expensive for a phone in 2020. So guys, that has been it from me in this video about the reasons why iPhones are not made, or may not be made, for Nigerians, or at least not have Nigerians in mind, or Nigeria as a country in mind. If you found this video informative and helpful, definitely drop a like down below. If you want me to do a second version of this video where I talk about why Samsung might be aimed at Nigerians or not, definitely drop that in the comment section. I would be very interested in what you guys think. If this is your first time here, definitely hit that subscribe button. Honestly, I can't believe you have not subscribed by now. I mean, I've been dropping subscribe cues from the beginning of the video. All right, just hit that subscribe button. It's down there. It should be down here. It's down, right? And it's free, so definitely hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Peace.